Charles Dickens, one of the most celebrated novelists of the Victorian era, was a literary titan whose works have left a lasting imprint on global literature and culture. Born into modest circumstances, Dickens rose to prominence through sheer talent, unrelenting perseverance, and an acute sense of social justice. His novels not only entertained readers but also exposed the harsh realities of 19th-century England, making him a voice for the downtrodden and the working class. Early life and childhood. Charles John Huffam Dickens was born on February 7, 1812, in Portsmouth, England, to John and Elizabeth Dickens. He was the second of 8 children. His father worked as a clerk in the Navy Pay Office, a position that initially offered a comfortable lifestyle. However, John Dickens was notoriously poor at managing finances, which would later have a profound effect on Charles's life and writing. In 1816, the Dickens family moved to Chatham in Kent, where Charles enjoyed a relatively happy and idyllic childhood. He received some formal education at a school in Chatham and developed a love for books, particularly works by Henry Fielding and Tobias Smollett. However, this happy period was short-lived. In 1822, the family moved to Camden Town in London, a poorer district, due to financial hardship. A harsh adolescence. The turning point in Dickens' young life came in 1824 when his father was imprisoned in the Marshalsea debtors' prison for failing to repay debts. At the tender age of 12, Dickens was forced to leave school and work at Warren's blacking factory, where he pasted labels onto bottles of shoe polish for 10 hours a day. He earned 6 shillings a week and lived in near squalor. The experience was deeply humiliating and traumatizing, leaving psychological scars that would resurface in his fiction. Although the family's situation improved slightly after John Dickens received an inheritance and was released from prison, the sense of abandonment and injustice Charles felt during this period never faded. His mother insisted he continue working at the factory, a decision he resented deeply. These painful childhood memories formed the emotional foundation of novels like David Copperfield and Oliver Twist. Journalism and literary breakthrough. In his late teens, Dickens found work as a law clerk and later became a court reporter, gaining first-hand exposure to the British legal system. He also began contributing sketches and short stories to newspapers and magazines under the pseudonym Boz. His first book, Sketches by Boz, was published in 1836 and earned him recognition for his keen observations and witty prose. That same year, Dickens married Catherine Hogarth, the daughter of a newspaper editor. They would go on to have 10 children, though their marriage eventually became strained and ended in separation. His first major literary success came with the Pickwick Papers, 1836-1837, a serialized novel that became a nationwide sensation. The serialization format would become a hallmark of Dickens's career, allowing him to gauge public reaction and adjust his narratives accordingly. A prolific career. What followed was an extraordinary period of creativity and influence. Dickens published a series of novels that are now considered literary classics. Oliver Twist, 1837-1839, exposed the brutal conditions of workhouses and child labor. Nicholas Nickleby, 1838-1839, criticized mistreatment in boarding schools. A Christmas Carol, 1843, has become one of the most beloved holiday tales of all time. David Copperfield, 1849-1850, a semi-autobiographical novel, remains one of his most personal works. Bleak House, Hard Times, Little Dorrit, and Our Mutual Friend further showcased his talent for social commentary. Dickens's novels tackled themes like poverty, injustice, industrialization, child exploitation, and the rigid class system of Victorian England. His characters like Ebenezer Scrooge, Oliver Twist, Uriah Heep, and Miss Havisham became cultural icons, illustrating his genius for memorable characterization. Public figure and reformer. Dickens was not just a novelist but also a passionate social critic. He gave public lectures, supported various philanthropic causes, and campaigned for reform in education, sanitation, and workers' rights. He visited the United States twice, advocating against slavery and commenting on American society in American Notes and Martin Chuzzlewit. He also co-founded Household Words, a weekly journal that included serialized novels, essays, and commentary on social issues. Later, he launched another publication, All the Year Round, where A Tale of Two Cities and Great Expectations were serialized. Personal challenges and final years. Despite his public success, Dickens's personal life was often troubled. His marriage to Catherine deteriorated due to his demanding personality, long absences, and rumored affair with actress Ellen Ternan, who was significantly younger. The couple separated in 1858, and Dickens maintained control of the narrative in the press. In his later years, Dickens suffered from declining health due to overwork, relentless writing schedules, and a grueling series of public reading tours, which were both financially rewarding and physically exhausting. A railway accident in 1865, in which he narrowly escaped death, further weakened his health. Nevertheless, he continued writing until his final years. His last novel, The Mystery of Edwin Drood, was left unfinished when he died of a stroke on June 9, 1870, at the age of 58. He was buried in the Poets' Corner of Westminster Abbey, an honor reflecting his literary stature. Legacy. Charles Dickens's influence on literature, society, and the English language is immeasurable. His works have been adapted into countless films, television series, stage productions, and even animated features. His exploration of social issues helped spark discussions about inequality and reform during the Victorian Age. More than a storyteller, Dickens was a moralist and reformer. His legacy lies not only in the enduring popularity of his novels but also in his passionate advocacy for the poor and marginalized. He gave voice to those often ignored by society and made their stories central to national discourse. In every sense, Dickens was the literary conscience of his age and remains one of the most beloved authors in world literature.